Greetings, this is Blair again. And if you saw my prior video on the Sell, Team, Teach model, just understand that this is a model that's been developed over the last 25 to 30 years and worked with thousands of organizations in over 20 different countries around the world. So I'm sure it's going to work for you. However, there's one strategic flaw in all of this, and the ignorance of which will kill your dreams and make you eternally frustrated. So I know you don't want any of that. But this is what we call the business development side, or the technical development side. This, you got to know how to sell. You got to know how to build teams and teach and accountability and all that kind of good stuff. And that's important. But there's one major flaw in the ointment, and that is this. You got to have this. You got to master it. Remember, sales equals income. But the one thing that stops all of this is this right here. So stay tuned. This is the problem. Now you're going, what is that, Blair? Well, that's your brain. Now, some people say you use 50% of your brain, 2% of your brain, but let's say you use 10% of your brain consciously. If this is the conscious part of your brain, what part of the brain is this? Right here. Well, if you said unconscious, we need to talk to you further about something else. But that's not what unconscious is what happens when you fall asleep at night, okay? What we call this is we call this the subconscious. And the reason it's subconscious is because we have lots of memories and experiences that are stored in there that you don't think about all day long. Times that you lost money, heartbroken, disappointed, frustrated, whatever, as negative ones. You also have positive ones. Times when you won, when you had a big accomplishment. All that's stored in here. And you don't think about it all day long until the moment when you go to do a sales call. Remember, from the other side, we're out there trying to generate income, and somebody says to you, I'm not interested, or you don't know what you're talking about, and all of a sudden, all of the times when you thought, when people told you you couldn't do something before, get reinforced, and you go, well, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I can't do this, maybe it's too hard, or maybe I'm not smart enough, blah, 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 blah. And all that stuff is coming from your subconscious, shows up in the form of something called your little voice. You know the little voice I'm talking about? It's the one that just went, what little voice? I don't have a little voice. That's the one I'm talking about. I always tell people that mine sounds like my mother. But the truth of it is we all have a little voice. And we have good ones and bad ones. But the ones that I'm talking about, those debilitating ones that said, well, maybe I'll put it off till tomorrow. Maybe it's not that important. Not smart enough. Not fast enough. Not good enough. Too tired. There's a good one. Too old. Too young. Not pretty enough, too pretty. All of those things that stand in the way of you picking up the phone and making a sales call, or closing the biggest deal of your life, or approaching the love of your life, or taking on the dream of your life. So my experience is what I learned back in 1982 when I took my first personal development program is that the one thing in common with all the money I'd made and lost, relationships that had worked and not, was me. That something was going on over here that was creating all of that out there. Now, some of you are thinking, well, that's no kidding. And most people will acknowledge that until they're in the heat of the battle. And in the heat of the battle, when your emotion's running high, you don't remember all that. All you're doing is responding instinctively based upon what this little bad boy's saying. So the key here in making a lot of money, or in having the optimum health, or in having finding the love of your life, whatever your goal is you got to clear this thing or master this, get this out of the way. I don't know that you can totally get it out of the way, but you need to learn to recognize it, master it, and go through some techniques to be able to master it. That's why I wrote the book Little Voice Mastery, and we have Little Voice Mastery techniques, 21 techniques to be able to wrestle control that little voice when it comes up and gets in your way. Because like I said, it's a two-pronged approach. The business development, which you saw over here, and personal development. Or, if you're not in business, say technical development and business and personal development. Or health development and personal development. Or relationship development and personal development. But this has to be handled. Because look, everybody knows what to do. Everybody wants to be in great shape, right? Is that such rocket science material? Eat properly, get some exercise, drink water, don't put bad things in your body. Clear? Then why do so many people struggle with it all over the world in whatever country I go into? It's not because they don't know how to do it. It's because they don't know how to master this, to get the bad habits, the bad attitudes, and all those things out of the way so they can have what they want. So, if that's you, and I'm sure it's you because it's me too, is that I would encourage you to click on the links we have here. Take the Little Voice Diagnostic. Find out where specifically Little Voice is helping you and where it's shooting you in the foot. And then pick up the technique that we can offer to you. Learn that technique, memorize it, and you can transform your life in about 30 seconds or less if you have the right technique for the right little voice that pops up. It's exciting because, like I said, I've always said, the distance between you and where you want to go isn't very far. It could just be mastering the one little voice that just now said, I don't have a little voice. That may be the one that's stopping you. So click early, find out what your little voice is doing with you, and then pick up the technique to be able to handle it.